But there is no replacement for public service broadcasting. No pluralistic democracy can be achieved without a genius professional, independent and well-balanced public service. But also, no public service can survive without political consensus in the relevant society, without predictable financing and without an utmost devotion of its employees and collaborators.
The previous general manager. Therefore, I would like to emphasize some data. 2 weeks ago, we celebrated 50 years and 30 years of Hungarian radio and TV in Slovenia, respectively. In the last few years, our performance has been successful with adequate surplus.
Poleg tega seveda imamo tudi dokaj močno glasbeno produkcijo, in sicer simfonični orkester in big band ter komorni zbor. Poleg tega proizvajamo sami zgoščenke in DVD. Seveda podpora nam je močna produkcija radijskih in televizijskih programov.
But we have to observe it like public houses. So, what is the reason for this? The main characteristic of today's world is a wide range of, and of course, great dynamic of change. Because of that, it used many organizational problems, not only for public services, also for businesses.
Used by journalists, by professional organizations, universities, and sometimes I think it is used so widely because it is freely available on the net. You don't have to pay for it, but then I also believe it has also set some standards. If you're interested in downloading this project and the 20 national projects, please visit mediapolicy.org as one word.
The way we chose the countries were, first of all, we had budget constraints, so we couldn't cover again 20 countries. And we had to choose only some countries where major changes have taken place in legislation, regulatory models, or the public service or commercial broadcasting systems. Broadcasters, public service broadcasters and private broadcasters alike are losing their grip on the markets.
It has to be in interest of public service broadcasters that they are open to the society, that they are always measured, criticized and so on. And therefore, these sort of independent surveys are of utmost importance.
The problem is when we talk about subscription, about paying fees for the license, just to own a TV set. This is what you do in Croatia. If you own a TV set, then you pay to Croatian television taxes. The problem is with the way the money has been spent.
You monitored some significant change in the way that the public broadcasters are dealing with the minorities and diversity in general, or if the situation is as grim as it was in 2005.
Every household is obliged to pay every 2 months €8.50. The total license fee is 51. What is our biggest problem?
Broadcasters has 4 components. Each of 2 BH entities has its own television, meaning Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina and Television of Republika Srpska. There is Bosnian TV on the state level, and there is so-called media service, which provide technical services to all 3 broadcasters. So it's really complicated situation. They do have financial problems, I mean really deep financial problems.
And broadcast 24 hours, the second one broadcast also 24 hours, but is mostly dedicated to the young generation. And the third radio channel is in shortwaves and is dedicated to Albanian living abroad, and we have also 7 broadcasting in 7 different languages.
Editorial office for program in Serbian language, editorial office for program in Hungarian language, editorial office for program in Slovakian, Romanian, Ruthenian and Gypsy language. The new program of Television Novi Sad was launched in June 1991 instead of the former 3P, with a tendency of more minutes of program. Since its first days, the editorial formula of NS Plus, that was the name of the program, turned out as a very successful project, which was supported by its audience figure. Radio Television Today is now became a public service.
And documentary programs that we have broadcast. We are, of course, struggling as all public broadcasters with the competition from corporate commercial stations, and are just trying to stay afloat, actually trying to stay the leader in hoping to develop a collaboration with the rest of the public broadcasters in the region.
A programmatic document, mission, vision, principal value. We change our visual identity this year, but the main problem, like in my colleagues, there are the subscription, because
within the frames of its responsibility as a public service, it's also produced a program for the disabled and people with special needs, news and special programs for the audience with hearing problem.
The Croatian Parliament passed a new law on Croatian radio and television in 2003, and this law was crucial for public service, I think.
We are a public institution. We must act in the interest of public, and with there are some differences if you compare it with TV and radio, because there are not only technical and technological solutions and kind of information we offer. We also need to think about what users can or cannot do.
What are you doing to get this new generation, not only in the new media, but via the new media, also to the news programs, which is to a certain extent our core business, to produce television?
My first point is that we are seeing two modes of disintegration. The first one is the funding model disintegration. Both the public service broadcaster and the commercial broadcaster
does not need any advocate for his stance, but it seems, from my point of view, this regulation is pretty clear, despite the fact that the rest of the sphere regarding the multimedia service is unclear.
That actually anybody would like to produce such a content, because it's all about profit, as much as I know. When you look at the commercial media right now, you can see that, I mean, I won't say anything new, that commercial televisions are not producing anything that is of a public interest.
We have a daily slot of 15 minutes on Eurovision satellite channel, and since recently we are also able to exchange the stories during the whole day, since we are responding to the emerging 24 hours news channels.
We give advice and we help member states to create public service broadcasters. So we thought that this project is really an ideal one to support for UNESCO in operational level. And first we started with a little contract to have a workshop and maybe a few equipments, and then we negotiated with the European Commission of possible grant to support the project even more. And in 2003 we managed to get 300,000 euros from the European Commission.
Jean Rebellion is very well acquainted with what we do, but we still wanted to ask him to give us from his viewpoint, because he is neutral, he is out of this region, his view about EBU and Southeast Europe and Western and Eastern Balkans, whatever you want.
You know that one of the EBU key tasks is to help members protect editorial independence and press freedom, and it's very important to recall this year. As you know, public service broadcasters play a vital role in promoting freedom of information. There can be no freedom without freedom to inform the public from wherever there is a story to tell.
They can buy governments, opinions, and I don't listen anything for them. And we are talking for our problem if we have less or more influence from the political parties. Okay, we are public companies. in some way, in any way, we will have influence. Pressionized for the financial situation or for the governance situation, for everything.
Yes, I'm coming from the private sector. My radio is owned by people who work on this radio. And we were fighting against tycoons for 18 years. I didn't think it was a very interesting topic for this meeting of public services. So I did not talk about that. We spent a lot of time talking about tycoons.
In Greece, we are still trying to implement the essentials. That's why I asked Mr. Réveillon if EBU eventually is planning to control its members regarding some guidelines. I mean, in Greece, we don't have programs based, actually focused on diversity and minority at all.
Some people were threatened with losing their jobs because their education was supposed to be inappropriate and so on. And instead of them, people came into these offices who were, I must say, less than relevant for this office. I'm sorry the general manager is not here because I don't want to talk behind someone's back, but it's a well-known fact that the general manager of public broadcaster, before he became the general manager, was a local car dealership.
Pa tek toliko da našim kolegama koji razumiju zapravo ovaj jezik kojem ja govorim, dam do znanja da na prvom mjestu su utvrđena su tijela, zapravo i na prvom mjestu je Programsko vijeće Hrvatske radiotelevizije, pa je onda ravnateljstvo i na kraju tek glavni ravnatelj, naime osoba koja u drugom smislu riječi menadžerski vodi i odgovara za poslovanje kuće.
And that is that we have a lot of good examples. We can make benchmarking of all sorts, but we don't have a common standards in Europe because it is very clear within the EU the matter of public service broadcasting and of culture is out of standards which are otherwise very, very in detail scrutinized by the community.
Executive managers elect the responsible editors of each services, and they are the lowest level of the high management bodies of the national television. They are 8 in number.
There are actresses whose soap operas bought from so-called independent producers are bought by Croatian television. They are members of this board and they vote for certain program decisions. So there was evident clash of interests. When I said that this whole story is not realistic, the fact is that actually the story about the board was filled with scandals, affairs, and fights, even physical fights among the members, which started when the new elections were in the election year, actually.
Na posljednjem izboru, a to je bilo prije godinu nešto dana, ne moram točno reći, ne mogu se sjetiti, je bilo 5 ponuda za glavnog urednika informativnog programa Hrvatske televizije i sa svih 5 kandidata vijeće radi intervju.
Of course, to respond to these conflicts in our society.
I think we should stick to the general idea and try to improve it or implement that idea as good as we can. So far, these meetings of SEEMO have been showing to a large extent how similar, sometimes the same, are the problems which we are facing.